Did you do your homework? I sure did. I have this level right here, and also I upgraded to the latest version of Unity, which is something I didn't do for the last 2 episodes. So sorry if everything looked a bit different. It's all fixed now, so that's all good. Also, the standard assets is actually deprecated in this version of Unity, so I actually had to install a third-party first-person controller, and this one's actually really good. It's called the First Person All-in-One by Aidan Graves. It's free, 5-star ratings, that's how you know it's going to be good. So just import that, it will give you this folder right here, click on that, click on the first-person AIO folder, and drag out the prefab. And it's simple as that. So I have my controller right here. If I click on that, hopefully Unity hasn't crashed. There we go. It will display in what's called the inspector right here. This is called the inspector. It just displays any components of a game object. I won't get too into it at the moment. But anyway, I just changed a couple of the settings right here. I decreased the mouse sensitivity, I increased the walk speed, the sprint speed, and the jump power. I disabled head bobbing, and I disabled audio effects. And that's it. So, let's go and play our level and see what we've done since the last episode. Okay, so this is our main platform, surrounded by wooden walls. And then we have this little entrance right here. And then we have these slightly smaller platforms which you can jump across. I didn't make this too difficult because this is just a tutorial after all. So let's get to the end. And there we go, we've completed the entire game. Now the player doesn't actually know that. The player is just going to be left confused, wondering what to do next. Now the reason why is because the player isn't getting any indication that they've won the game. Now that is what we're going to solve in this tutorial. We're going to learn about programming. Now programming can be a very daunting topic in Unity, especially for beginners. I will explain it as best as I can. Now Unity uses C# as its programming language, and I by no means know everything about C#, but I at least know the basics. So to create a C# script, you right click on the project panel right here, hit create, and then C# script. And I'm just going to call this my first. You can call it whatever you like. Now, this script isn't actually attached to anything. Now, if we were to play our game and typed out loads of code in our script, then it won't actually work because it's not attached to anything. Unity won't know what to do with that script. So, we need to attach this to a game object. So, over to the hierarchy right here, you right click, 3D object, and then cube. Oh, it's in my face. That's not good. Let's just move over here, like so. Move it down a bit. Over here. Move it down. Move it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's pretty good. I'm just going to drag this Voronoi texture onto this cube. It's not seamless, but it's good enough. It makes the cube stand out. So let's drag the my first script onto the cube. And let's double click on the script. Now your script won't open as fast as mine did, and the reason why is because your default text editor is probably something like Visual Studio. Now Visual Studio is a very robust text editor, however it's got way too many features and it's a bit bloated, so that's why it probably will take quite a while to boot up. Now I'm using something called Sublime Text, which is a very lightweight text editor. It doesn't have too many features, but it boots up very, very fast. So that's why I use it. So this is the script generated by Unity. So let's have a look at it. So just ignore these 3 using tags right here and ignore this public class thing here. All you got to focus on is these 2 methods right here. These are called methods. So This one's called the start method. And here we have a comment. You know it's a comment if it starts with 2 forward slashes and it's grayed out. So it says start is called before the first frame update. Which means that whenever the game starts, this method is called and then immediately ends. So that's something to keep in mind. So before we start writing any code, I'm going to talk about the console, which is built into Unity. If we click on the console right here, and it displays any error messages or warnings from a script, maybe you have a typo or something like that, then the console will be very, very helpful and display where that typo is. Now, a lot of people hate the console because it just displays random error messages for no reason, and I can assure you that the console is never wrong. So keep that in mind. Anyway, to write a message in the console, not an error message or a warning, just a simple dialog box that displays a message. What you got to write is debug.log, oopsies, log. Make sure you put the capitals in there, and then add 2 brackets, and then end it with a semicolon just to tell Unity that we've finished this line of code. Otherwise, Unity will go mental and give you an error message, which is not good. So in between these 2 brackets, put 2 quotation marks, and then write something like you win. Let's save that. Minimize your text editor. Unity will compile the script. Let's just check if it's dragged on. Yeah, it's there. It's in the inspector. Let's play. And there we go. We can see you win display in the console. Now, that's not good. And the reason why is because if a player was playing your game and they were immediately granted with you win, they wouldn't have a reason to play your game anymore. So we're going to fix that. But let's go and put this message in the void update method. Let's see what that does. So let's play. Whoa. Okay. That's not very good. You win has been displayed 254 times, which is definitely not what we want. Now the reason why it does this is because, as we can see here in this comment, update is called once per frame. So the update method is similar to the start function, method, as it is called immediately when the game starts. However, it is called every frame. So it will just repeat until the game stops, which is definitely not what we want. Now, you see, none of these methods are what we want. So what we can do, just delete them. We don't need them, so delete them. And we're going to write our own method. So to write a method, you write void, and then the name of the method, and we're going to write on trigger enter. Now the reason why we're writing on trigger enter is because we want to trigger this cube. We want to walk into that cube and then display the message. That's why we want on trigger enter. And then we're going to add 2 brackets, and then 2 curly brackets, and then let's just paste our code in there. And then let's save it, exit out of your text editor. Unity will compile your code. So let's play. There we go. The message isn't displaying, which is good for now anyway. Let's just parkour our way through the level. Let's walk into this cube, and oh, that's not good. Our message isn't displaying. Have you got any error messages? No, we haven't got any messages whatsoever. Now the reason why is because the on trigger enter method only works if isTrigger is set to true. It's set to false, so we just have to tick this little box here. Make sure the cube is selected. And while we're here, why don't we go over to the hierarchy, right click, rename, and let's call this finish. There we go. Let's play. Let's move around. Let's walk into our cube. And there we go. You win has displayed in the console. Now, there's another problem. I know, our script works and everything, but there's still one problem. And that problem is, if we were to build our game into, let's say, an exe file, because I'm using Windows, of course, then the exe file won't contain a console. So that means we won't be able to see our message display. Now, we're going to fix this in the next tutorial, because we're going to be talking about variables and UI. So I'll see you then.